So I'm joined this morning with Matthew Kopperud of Close Talker, and it's a great pleasure to have you here, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
All right, so you are with the band Close Talker with Will Queering and Chris Morian. So tell us a little about yourself for maybe listeners who may be hearing you for the first time.
Sure. Yeah, so we're an indie rock band from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and it may sound generic, but we're childhood friends. Chris, the drummer, and myself have known each other. We're coming up on 21 years of friendship.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty special. And then we met Will a little bit later on, but the catalyst that started the band was actually a mutual friend of all of ours was getting married, and he asked us to kind of make a makeshift wedding band. So we got together and learned some covers, and we played the dance at his wedding, and it mostly went well, and it was an absolute blast. We had a lot of fun, so we decided to get together and write some songs and play an open mic, and then it kind of spiraled out of control, and now we're here.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you pretty much also began with a bassist as well, and then eventually sometime, I think a few years back, you decided we'll go with just the three of you guys and have, I believe it's you just playing bass pedals pretty much for all of your songs, eh?
Yeah, that's right. And funny enough, actually, we met our bass player at that wedding that we played. So we had another buddy slinging bass for us, and then we met Germs Olsen, our old bass player, at the wedding.
At the wedding.
And the wedding was meant to be dry, and it was a little more conservative, but
right.
He definitely wasn't dry. He was having a good time. So we met him that night and became friends, and yeah, he was in the band and a pillar in the band for a number of years. And then the truth is there's no like cool dramatic story. He just had work and wasn't able to take too many holidays. He's quite a bit older than us, and
right.
like a full-blown grown-up. So sadly had to leave the band, and then we had another friend step in for a short while, but ultimately we made the decision to become a three-piece. So we're all kind of doing double duty on stage now. We got some keyboards, and Chris has a sample pad, but we're still very keen and adamant about producing and playing every sound that comes out of the PA. We're performing it.
That's really cool. So, I mean, I think you're pretty much tasked right now with playing the bass lines because, as I mentioned, you do bass pedals still, don't you?
Yeah. I have the Geddy Lee pedals, we call them, and it's funny. Germs comes to our shows and he says, "I've been replaced by your right foot." he's not actually chapped about it. He's stoked for us. It is funny that we've ironically become more bassy than ever.
That's interesting, yeah. And you still also play keys and guitar, and you do vocals at the same time as well on some occasions.
Yeah. There's some cool moments in the set where both Will and I are kind of tapping and playing guitar with one hand while playing keys, and it's a lot of fun. It can be hectic at times, but I think it's cool for audience members to watch, to kind of see how are they achieving that sound? Where did it come from? And if you look close, you can see.
Oh, definitely.
I spend the majority of the show on my left foot, and sometimes my leg cramps up. But to keep perspective, drummers use all four limbs at once. So they're still totally in the lead.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you've also, for the past few days, you've been touring with Language Arts as well. How's that experience been so far?
It's been great. They're awesome. They're terrific people and great band. It's been a really good fit. Yeah, we're thankful that they're sharing the stage with us, and they got some really, really great songs. I think they just released a video the other day I watched, and it was really trippy, really cool.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we're thrilled to share the stage with them. I'm an advocate. I'm a believer. Language Arts is great.
And it's interesting because I was talking with them too, and it's sort of like you guys each have your own individual way of, whenever you make music and sort of just listen off of each other whenever you're producing songs. And tell us a little bit more about, whenever you do write songs, what's that process like?
So the way we write as a band is very instinctual and kind of call and response. So we all typically write in the same room. Very, very rarely will someone come to the studio and say, "Oh, I have a song from start to finish. Here's your part." That's not really how we operate.
Right.
How it works is one of us will start something, be it on the keys or piano or drum beat, and the other two will just respond with whatever happens instinctually. And typically our instincts are pretty spot on, or sometimes they'll go through several growing pains and we'll go down the rabbit hole and change things. But for the most part, we want to just see what happens naturally and kind of trust our guts.
Right.
And then later on, we'll second guess everything forever.
True. I guess, because usually like the first try is usually your best try too, isn't it? Like the first time you go through it.
Yeah, that's often the case. There's something special and kind of organic about, okay, how did my brain and fingers respond to that particular rhythm or that particular tone? And and sometimes the sounds of things really inspire us. So if
Oh yeah.
my guitar sounds a certain way, it's going to totally dictate how I approach a part.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we typically write a lot of jams,
Oh
and
yeah.
then we'll like implement melodies and lyrics. Those kind of fall into place depending on how the jam makes us feel.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's sort of our process in a nutshell. But yeah, there's definitely room for being spontaneous and having different contexts. Like, for example, we were on a tour this fall with a band called Current Swell, and the way it worked out, we left our gear on the West Coast and we flew home to be with our wives for some time. And so we didn't have any of our typical tools for writing. So we just, sat down at the piano or an acoustic guitar, and we still write that way too. We can kind of draw inspiration from whatever our circumstances.
Yeah, that's really cool.
There's a young band from the Netherlands.
Oh wow.
That I think we overlap a lot of musical tastes, and they're called Klangstoff. And I just want to like randomly plug them. They're
for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're very, very synthy, and we're definitely going a more guitar-driven way with our future songs. But they're really cool, and I've watched some of their like tour diaries and videos and stuff like that, and I'm basically a total fan. And they're super funny, and I just think we'd get along.
For sure, that's really cool. Now let's get maybe into something with your music, and especially your two most recent albums, which were Flux back in 2014-15 and Lens, which is your most recent release back in, I believe it was April or maybe whatever the year was. I don't remember. Yeah. And I was giving a listen through all the songs, and it's an interesting sound in the sense of like it puts you in a mood too. Like it's sort of like the selection of instruments that you make, and that sort of thing. So it's really cool, and I really do have enjoyed both of those albums and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. So whenever you listen to music or anything, is there anything that you appreciate the most out of whenever you listen to a song, or just you kind of just appreciate the song as a whole? And
no, I definitely get deep. Like I feel like most first-time listeners to a song are gonna, either the lyrics are gonna stick with you or the melodies and the vocals, and that still is like the primary instrument, and that's gonna be kind of dictating whether you like or dislike a song. But I definitely go down the rabbit hole, and I think about, their song structure or that chord progression was really interesting, or they chose those tones and it evoked this emotion. So I definitely get nerdy about it, which is both a blessing and a curse, because there's sometimes I just want to put on a record that's pleasant, and I just want to, not think about, what key is it in, and that definitely sounds like a Fender Telecaster, or
man.
I just want to like shut off my brain and just drive. But other times, specifically when the production is very interesting, I definitely am contemplating the decisions they made, and I'm usually patting them on the back for those decisions because they nailed it or hit it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, listening to music it can be a taxing thing, or it can be super relaxing. And for me, it can be taxing. I have trouble shutting off my brain.
No, don't worry. It happens to me too sometimes, because I think my experience with high school music and just being so active in the music program and doing jazz, at least in my case.
You mentioned jazz. We one time we had a day off in Paris, France, and we just stumbled upon this jazz club, and I think it was kind of like a residency, like the drummer was hosting the night, and he'd call up different friends to play with him.
Okay.
And they had Real Book number 6 with them or something, but not that they needed it. All these people just knew all the standards, and it was like some of the best music I think I've seen in a live context. And I'm not a jazz guy by any stretch, but I was like blown away and so inspired and floored, and like, because they were definitely, there was some push and pull, and they were playing with each other and listening, and everyone had their moments, and it was just like a really organic, special musical environment.
Man,
and
that's beautiful.
I think when we play live, like we don't play to a click, or nothing's too terribly regimented, so we definitely are inspired by that. Not that there's terrible much room for being spontaneous, but there's definitely like, there's some dynamics, there's some low lows and high highs, and it's super fun to kind of enter that mental space where you just get lost in the music for a bit. So with our audience, we encourage them to join us in that.
That's really cool. And I mean, just that influence in jazz in general, I think now that we're talking about it too, it's
an elusive thing.
Yeah, very much so.
Definitely something non-physical about music that I think is really special. And that's kind of why it's the universal language. I think maybe music, and then maybe soccer. Those are probably the universal languages.
Now we're getting into that. So what else do you guys do outside of music? Any sort of hobbies or interests you guys take up or whatnot?
Yeah. Oh man, we do tons of things. We kind of keep a lot of plates spinning, music being the funnest one. But I've worked at a church in the past as a youth minister, so that's a
Oh,
lot of
cool.
fun with those crazy teenagers keeping me on my feet. And Will and I run a concrete business in Saskatoon
Oh,
to
wow.
kind of fund some of these passions. And Chris has his engineering degree, but he works at a really hip clothing store and does a lot of their behind-the-scenes stuff in Saskatoon. So, yeah, we definitely keep busy. There's never a dull moment, but the least dull moments certainly are in the musical context.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's really cool. And so maybe just to quickly conclude, anything you'd like to let us know what's coming up for you guys, or
Sure.
anything you'd
Yeah,
like to...
we're actually, truth be told, we're hitting the studio next week, and we're starting to track our new record. So we've had a busy fall of writing, and we've kind of been putting a lot of ideas and songs through the ringer, and we're gonna put them in the computer and see how it works. So we're really excited for that. And I guess I would just also add, I would certainly plug the show
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow night and encourage people to come and take a risk and support touring bands and art in any form. Like, so whether you're at our show or not, I would encourage you to get out and do something and share an experience with people.
For sure, definitely, yes. And don't forget, as Matt mentioned, don't forget to catch them, Close Talker, as well as Language Arts, tomorrow night. That is at Mills Hardware, and it definitely is a show you will not want to miss. And yeah, Matt, it's been such a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah,
for
thank you
your
very,
time.
very
And the
much for having
opportunity.
me. This was really nice.